Alright, here we are with a budget declone guide. I'm going to go over the skills, my gear, my stats, and then run a clone for you. Here you go. We got 1 point in Dragonflight for obvious reasons, just to get you out of a situation where you might not want to be, where you're surrounded by skeletons, or you're really far from a pillar during the Nova phase. We're putting 1 point in Cloak of Shadows that I will use at the beginning of each skeleton phase, and then perhaps a moment where I need it. Enough points in Fade, that's going to help you with your PDR. This is going to be situational for your gear, and then after putting in 20 into Wake of Fire, Wake of Inferno, Fire Blast, you'll just dump it into Weapon Block. As far as gear goes, we're using a Bartux with a 1-socket slam, or, a Mollis, whatever, with a shale in it. We've got the Rock Stopper, a Shaft Stop, a Nokazan, another Bartux, a Water Walks, a Dwarf Star, a Verdungos, a Ravenfrost, and some Blood Fists. We're simulating 9 plain skill Trapper GCs with this +9 small charms from PlugY. And then I'm using this for just to, cap my res, not worry about any life, small charms, etc. that you could obviously use here. We're not using an Anni, we are using a torch. I made this file to simulate day 1 or 2 gear. Hopefully you have a torch, but you might not. Here's our stat sheet. We've got 90 fire res and then 75 of the others. If you can get your hands on Nature's Peace, that's good for max cold res for the Nova phases. And then, lightning and poison, that's good for the Skelly Mage phase, but really nothing else. The Dwarf Star is giving us fire absorb. The Ravenfrost is giving us cold absorb. Our PDR is boosted by that charm, but you're going to be over 50 with a Shaft Stop, Rock Stock, or Verdungo Fade combo. Our attack rate, or IAS, is 30. We've got the Shale and the 10 from Blood Fist, which gives us our 26 IAS breakpoint for the Greater Talons, which is fine. Ideally, you want to get to 50, which really shouldn't be a problem if you can get, some open socket slam Bartux. Obviously, nothing on this setup is slammed except this Bartux. On PlugY, all the uniques are max rolled, so I didn't bother with slams just because, honestly, with slams, your gear will probably be better than the max rolls. FHR is 86, dual Bartux, Rock Stopper, Nokazan, Blood Fists, Verdungos, you're easily going to get that 86, and 200 just doesn't really seem attainable / worth it. I'm sure you could do it if you wanted to. So this is pretty budget. As you can see down here, we've got our skills outlined. We've got level 35, Wake of Fire, which does 2.2k, and then level 5, level 35, that does 12.3k. So it's, 9 plain skillers shouldn't be that hard to get in the first 2 days of ladder, or, just to acquire for your farmer. So we're not doing CTA, we're just doing a torch, 9 plain skillers, and then just super budget gear that you can acquire fairly easily. So, all my skills that are bound, we've got Wake of Inferno, Cloak of Shadows, Dragonflight, Wake of Fire, and Fade. We'll get into the fight, immediately Fade, and then we'll just start laying traps. Really, on the non-skelly phases, all you have to worry about is Diablo Clone's Firestorm and his Lightning. The Fire Nova, you can't really negate the damage except by hiding behind a pillar, but obviously that's not worth it. You really just don't want to get stuck in his hose or the Firestorm. You want to conserve your juves for as long as possible. On this phase, I'm not even going to Cloak of Shadows. I'm just going to kind of clump them all together and then just start laying Wake of Fires. I like to lay them against the wall, just that ensures they shoot out at the skeletons, and they should hit, you know, every skeleton in the line. Yeah, I mean, you can Cloak of Shadows to, like, trap them in a corner, and then kind of Wake of Fire everything. We can kind of do that here. But, honestly, I just don't think it's worth it. I'd rather just kite them and Wake of Fire them. It's a little slow, but the damage is consistent, and they're not going to hit you. And you can see here that, like, those two stragglers that I Cloak of Shadowed, they did not follow me, and that's kind of why I don't like to Cloak of Shadows. It's just kind of annoying. The Skellies stop. You know, if I didn't Cloak of Shadows, I could have killed them all by now, and, you know, probably had a Juve or two more. So at this point, they're all dead. I'm just going to get back into the arena, start laying down Wake of Infernos, and try to trigger the Nova phase, which should be coming any second now. You're going to want to stay topped off, because you're not going to want to get one-shot by the Nova when it comes out. Yeah, so there it is. We dodged it or weapon blocked it or something. I'm going to get behind the pillar, and on live servers, I would hit the resync button just to make sure you're actually there. If you have a baller internet connection like Stoic, you don't need the resync button, but I don't know. I'm plugged into Ethernet, and I've got a 150 download speed, and I still find that I need to resync. Right now, just same shit, just laying the traps. I am going to Cloak of Shadows when the skeleton phase starts, just because the archers can be a pain in the butt before you're kind of moving fluidly in your kind of circles. So I'm going to Cloak of Shadows, and then, you know, I'll run up here to aggro the skeletons, get them moving towards me. And right now, in Phase 2, you can be a Chad and lay your traps near the archers so that, you know, it hits the archers and then goes to the melee guys. If you're not experienced with the fight, I would suggest just kind of doing what we did in Phase 1, just laying them against the wall, keep running in circles until your traps kill all the melee guys, and then you can worry about the archers. Weapon block, super helpful for the archers. You're just gonna block, you know, 50% of their attacks, and with your PDR, it shouldn't really be a concern. Okay. There, we kind of got caught up. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but we just used a little Dragonflight to get, you know, into the clear, which, that's why Dragonflight's critical. So now, I'm just running around, like right there, there's like 3 of them grouped together. I'll Wake a Fire if there's like 3 or more in a group, but if it's only 1 or 2, I'll just lay down Wake of Inferno, and that will, you know, kill the solo guys, and if there's 2, it'll kill the first one, then target the second. Yeah, I just find Wake of Infernos like much easier for the archers, just based on, you know, them not moving and the higher damage output. So yeah, so we got at least 2 archers left. Maybe just this one at this point. My fade's good. If you're worried about dropping fade, I'd recommend you just throw it down at the start of each Nova phase. That'll ensure that you never run out of it. Yeah. Now we're just laying down Infernos. I would recommend not face tanking the lightning. So we heard his Salvation Aura. That's the first one. Hit that resync button. We're in a fire. I'm going to move out of it. That should be 3, 4, 5. Alright, that was 6. You fire 6 Novas. I'll refresh fade, even though we have 150 seconds on it. Yeah. Don't eat the lightning wave. My belt looks good. I'm missing a pot. Generally, when you go to refill, you're going to use a pot. so it's kind of like, is it worth it? Generally, yes. You know, you want your belt to be full, ideally, in case some shit goes down. I didn't fill it, but that's okay. We got the mages, and we got the warriors. Something I haven't mentioned yet that is important is that you really don't want to lay more than one trap at a time during the skeleton phases. Just because you want to keep moving to A, dodge the arrows, and B, get away from the melee guys. So I'm just moving, trapping, moving, trapping. I mean, you really don't even have to think about it. You're literally just moving around, trapping, moving around, laying traps. I'm just going to kill the melee guys, and then do exactly what we did on phase 2, except now there's mages. So you might want to utilize Wake of Fire a little more during this phase, but really, it's not the end of the world either way. I would say if you just want to use one, like if you just want to keep it really simple for the archers and the mages, I would just not use Wake of Fire and use Wake of Inferno, just because it is, I'd say, that much quicker for the phases. So I just checked my belt. I've got 4 pots, or 5 I guess, 4 on one slot, 1 on the other. You can load pots here. Your traps last a while. That being said, you know, your traps are going to kill the archers you put them near, so, you know, you might have some traps not doing anything if you are, you know, using your kind of 8 PM bandwidth to load pots instead of lay traps. Still have 5 after loading pots, which is going to be more than enough to kill these skeletons, but, you know, if you are kind of worried about that, then you could just fill your pots. Honestly, I'm not even sure what I have in my inventory, but yeah, I mean, I shouldn't need to drop my cube. You know, that being said, it's good practice to just drop your cube so they're on the ground, them being the potions available to you. So I've got 4 pots left. Yeah, something that just happened, I kind of like clicked on Diablo instead of, you know, running in a circle, which you're going to run at him, and if it's the firestorm or, you know, lightning hose attack, you are going to just kind of sit in that attack, which obviously is not ideal. You know, I guess I'll drop my cube. You can lay traps from behind the pillar, so like during the 4th and 5th Nova phase, you can just lay traps, so then when that 6th one goes off, you're back in the arena, your trap's already down, and you're, you know, DPSing Diablo. But yeah, you really just kind of want to avoid clicking on Diablo or, like, you know, hovering while you're moving, because that will, you know, make you run towards him, and if it is a hose or a firestorm, you could just get fucking clapped by doing that, which is obviously suboptimal. He should be going down soon. I don't even have to look at his health. I mean, I'd recommend, unless you're really low on pots and you're like considering saving and exiting, then I just wouldn't even look at his health. Okay. So yeah, when I dropped my cube, I forgot I had inventory space, so they went, you know, into my inventory instead of on the ground. That's the benefit of dropping it early into the fight when your inventory's full, because then the pots will just fall on the ground, and when you know, pick them up, they'll go directly in your belt instead of your inventory. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the basic Diablo Clone budget fire trapper fight. It's pretty easy. It's really just getting reps and knowing what to do. I hope this video is helpful, and if you have any questions, you know, leave them in the comments or hit me up on Discord. You can find me in the PD2 official Discord. My name is Schmidtward, SCHMIDTWERD. I've got the Squidward avatar, just hit me up. I also have my own Discord if you want an invite. It's mostly hardcore players with some softcore players in there too. Yeah, I mean, it's just a good place to have fun with everybody else, and it's, yeah, yeah, welcoming community, and yeah, if you want an invite, I'll leave one in the description, and yeah, join up, ask me some questions. There's more knowledgeable people in there than me, so you can learn a lot, and just have fun with other people playing the game we all enjoy to play. As you can see on the screen, I've got my farming setup stats, which in Season 6, I killed Diablo Clone over 210 times, and, you know, the lower stats is pretty much what my setup was, which is almost, double the damage of what this build is, this setup that I just showed you. And I also had, 2,900 life instead of 2,170. That was with CTA, Oak Sage, and lifers and reasonable corruptions that let me kind of optimize my gear, and obviously an Anni. I think I used a +2 Anni at the end. Cool. Alright, hope this was helpful, and see you guys in Season 7, hopefully. GG. Big GG.